Hey guys, welcome to another review. Today I'm going to be reviewing my custom 7-inch Color Topps Rick Grimes action figure. Now, this guy took a ton of work, but believe it or not, right after I did the original review of the regular Color Topps figure, that very night I customized him like this, and it's just taken me a while to get to reviewing the custom product here. So I'm going to show you some pictures of what the process was, and then we'll get into the review. So that'll take just a second. Those were some pretty cool pictures, weren't they? So that was the process, basically. You know, there's some things that I sort of forgot to take pictures of, but as you can tell, there was a lot of chopping and melding and sculpting involved. But finally, we're here at the finished product, and I think he looks pretty dang cool. So let's take a look at the paint first, then we'll look at the articulation, and then we'll just talk about other stuff in general. Okay, so to start off, I had to repaint his entire face. I wasn't expecting to. I thought I'd just like touch up some spots, but as I got further and further into it, I realized there were too many problems to just do a little repaint. So as you can see, his eyes had to be completely redone, which, you know, I'm not the greatest eye painter, but I think it turned out pretty well. Looks pretty even. And I wasn't able to get too much of a blue look in there like Rick Grimes' eyes, but I'm okay with that. I'd also like to point out it is a lot easier to paint 7-inch figures than it is to paint the 5-inch figures, because these guys are like way tiny. Just, yeah, look at that awful paint there in comparison. This Rick Grimes 7-inch looks a lot better. So you'd think McFarlane would be able to paint them better, but they have the same quality basically. Okay, so let's get an up-close look of him. Let me try and control this lighting here a bit more. Derp, derp. There we go. Think that works. Okay, so I added a little bit of 5 o'clock shadow, not too much. I might add more in the future, I don't know. This just looks good to me. Yeah. And then the little white parts there I had to repaint. Those little bandages. His eyes look good, his eyebrows. I think I did a really good job on his face, basically. His entire hairline and all, I kind of had to repaint in a little ways, but the rest of the hair, just like the entire back area and all, that's the same paint. Okay, and then you may notice here, there's no longer a big phallic thing sticking out of his neck. That is because that was the first thing I did, chop that off, resculpt it, well, not really resculpt, sand down to the point where it's very smooth, and then paint it. And now it looks pretty good. There's just a little bit of a seam there, but it's not much of a problem. He can turn his head, and he doesn't have this thing sticking out, so it works. I like that a lot. That really improved the figure for me. If you want, you could just do that, basically. That would improve your statue. And then if you want to add legs, that would help too, but I decided to go all out with the arm articulation too, because I just can't stand unarticulated figures. Okay, so for the arms, you know, I didn't do the greatest job painting them, but I think they look a little bit matched to the shirt. I may redo it later. There's quite a few things I still want to redo, but I did all this in one night and figured it was good enough. Okay, so let's take a look at the pants here, which is the only other thing that I really painted. Painted it black. It was originally a very light blue, and I think the paint stuck pretty dang well. Looks good. Okay, let's talk about the articulation. So for his head, can still move around. There's no limitations. It's got the exact same articulation, perhaps a little bit more because it doesn't have that nodule there. Head pivot. Okay, and then at the shoulders he can move up and down, however you want it. You could go 360, but it's still a little, you know, risky because you've got paint there that might come off, but he can move his arm outward into a shooting position. And he can also, let's see, he can move it at the elbow, like that. There's a little bit of an extra swivel as well on both sides. Had to sacrifice the wrist articulation though, because the Rambo's hands were quite meaty, and these looked much better, so I added these instead. But because I did that, now he can't swivel at the wrist, which, you know, it could be bad, could be good. If you want to give him a machine gun, it's a problem, but with his pistol or machete, it works fine. Okay, and for this hand, by keeping this, you get the fisted hand, so you can't actually put anything in that hand, so, you know, another thing at sacrifice. Then his other shoulder here can move up and down if you want. Elbow, it's got articulation. And by the way, his arms can move up about that far on both sides. Not too far up, but enough to where it counts, I'd say. And then there's no waist articulation because I had to meld these two parts together, which were completely off. And that took a lot of work, and, you know, kind of had to sacrifice that articulation point, but not a big problem for me. Then adding this belt was a really hard job because I had to meld everything together. It wasn't quite the right size for this, so I had to re-sculpt it in some places, just glue it in others. But it looks rather seamless, and it looks like it works if you ask me. All of that's original. And then there's his pants, and of course now he has articulation where he can kick forward, kick back, kick to the side, bend his knees, swivel at the knee a little. It's got ankle articulation that's really good. He can do pivot, you know, and he can move it forward and backward. He can twist around if you want on either side, so it's really great. If you want to get him to stand up, it's a lot easier than with the regular 7-inch figure, because his entire legs can just move to whatever position you want. You want your Rick in a running pose? No problem. So, basically that's it on the articulation. It took a lot of work, and you guys might be able to tell that. And I'm going to do some more touch-ups here and there as I go along, but I think basically this is him done. Now let's get a quick side-to-side look with him and some other figures. So here he is next to some NECA figures. So as you can see, he is in the 7-inch scale still. He may be a little taller than Rick Grimes should be, but I don't mind that. I think he looks cool. Here he is next to Hicks. And then just a little extra thing to add. Oh wait, these are all Terminator figures. I guess I own a lot. If you wanted to, you could use this Sarah Connor figure as a Michonne base. So if you wanted to put Michonne's head on here, this body would work great because it's got the tank top, it's got the muscular arms. So just a little statement there. If you guys want, that would be a good idea. Tell me if you think I should do that. I don't really want to buy another one of those color tops just so that that bastard Todd gets my money. But at the same time, I do want a 7-inch Michonne. I don't know. We'll see about that. Should be pretty good scale too. Rick too. So tell me what you guys think about that. Tell me what you think about the custom. Is this much improved, or is it just like, you know, not very much improved, or does it not look like improvement at all? You tell me. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Make sure to stick around for other videos. Check out the review I did of the Color Tops figure if you want. And I will see you guys in the next review. Peace. The figure stands at just about 7 inches tall. Here he is fist bumping my 5-inch Rick Grimes custom. And here he is next to a horrified looking Dale.